mud the other night. And he says, well,
Ladies and gents, before we go out into the main hall, they've asked that you have these on and have joined for the hand stuff for later. So as long as you do it before we leave to go out, it'll give her an opportunity to get ahead of it. So, and with that said, it's 5:30, so let's go ahead and get started with our pre-meeting agenda. Mr. City Manager, LGBTQ Advisory Committee update.
Yes, sir, and good evening, everyone. We have a number of guests with us tonight from the aforesaid committee, and we're grateful to have them with us. And if it's okay with you, Mr. Mayor, I'll just go ahead and defer the floor to their update.
Yes, please.
Thank you for having us here this evening. We really appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about where we've come in the last 2 years and where we hope to go.
Would you please identify yourselves for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
My name is Alex Petrino. I'm co-chair of the committee. This is Dave Esposito.
Yep, I'm just a committee member.
Just a committee member?
We'll just say the committee member.
I like it. Much better.
Just a little recap before I introduce some of the other individuals we have with us today. This committee was established after the non-discrimination resolution, and we began meeting monthly as a committee in November 2020. So we have some of our names listed up there, and we do not have Holly Brogan, who is over there. She's also on our committee. We have Daryl Wagner here with us today, Heidi Ruth, which is our city representative, Riley Jorgensen, Christy Jorgensen, and Kelly Stevefather are here with us today. Just to kind of just start on our accomplishments of what we've done in the last couple of years. First and foremost, of course, is the non-discrimination ordinance, and we would like to offer a big thank you to council for putting in the work and supporting us, and also providing your expertise and leadership on that. We'd also like to thank, of course, the city attorney and city manager for that as well. We'd also like to point out the increased visibility of the non-discrimination resolution on the City of Casper website. We've heard from multiple different individuals and entities that the information is very transparent and it's easily accessible. Our one ask with that is that the link does put you onto the resolution and not the ordinance. So if we could ask that we get that up to you, that would be wonderful. Other things that we've accomplished is we have to continue to strengthen our relationship with Natrona County School District and Casper College. Vicki is our rep for the Natrona County School District, and so we continue to use her as for guidance on what is needed for our K-12 students, as well as parents, families, and individuals within the district. And we also have a few members on our committee, Daryl included, who is a member of the Casper College community, either as faculty, staff, student, or other leaders. And we continue to defer to them to guidance on what is needed within those communities as well for our LGBTQ individuals. We also continue to partner with Casper Pride and take survey information and community feedback they receive and present that all here to you as well. And we are currently working with them on trying to understand and identify businesses and entities within Casper that are warm and affirming towards our community, and how we can best support them, encourage them, and educate them as well. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. So
The council.
just to give you guys an idea of what we're working on here in the future. So with the non-discrimination ordinance, with the success with that, we want to partner, or at least reach out to the county commissioners and get an idea of whether or not that would be something that they'd be interested in, how we can strengthen it here in the city, etc. We also want to, and I know we did this last year at Pride with surveying the community, but combined with, and I'm going to go over this in a minute, the Municipality Equity Index, we'd like to kind of structure a survey around that to make it a little bit more concrete and be able to analyze the data and take that back to our board and figure out what are some initiatives we can advise you guys on to increase our visibility on this index, right? And so I want to go into that. So this is a example of the Human Rights Campaign Municipality Equity Index. This is actually 2022. So we put Cheyenne and Casper here just to give you guys a comparison. So you can see that we have a score of 20, whereas Cheyenne has a score of 28. So in terms of our peer I guess our sister city there, we are not far behind, right? So we could probably get some pointers from them and excel a little bit better. But one thing I did want to point out here, as far as it just increasing the score, an easy 12 points. If you look right here, you get 12 points just for reporting hate crimes to the FBI. So I know that that's not in our ordinance that was passed, but it's something to look into if we are, if we are really looking into increasing our score here. But some good news is compared to 2015, we have increased significantly. So back in 2015, we had a score of 3, right there on par with Rock Springs. You can see Laramie leads the way. In fact, I think their score now is 70 plus. So a lot we can learn from them as well. But these are just some things that we're going to be looking into to further our cause here and help you guys make the city a little bit more LGBTQ friendly. So that is all we've got. Do you guys have any questions?
Kyle, please.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Dave and
Alex.
For the information. You mentioned that the reporting to the FBI was not a part of this ordinance. It sounds like it's part of other ordinances. I was just curious if that was a conversation that the advisory council had at any point, and what what that conversation.
Yeah. So we. Oh, sorry.
Nope.
So no. To answer your question, just simply no. We did not really discuss that. This, as far as I know, this index we just kind of brought it up at a meeting that I was at not too long ago, which was after the ordinance itself was passed. So a little late to the game there, but we can definitely look into that and see. I mean, I'll have to reach out to somebody in Cheyenne and see if they have that in their ordinance, but regardless, I think just doing it, I don't know if it has to be in an ordinance or not. If we just do it, I think it'll give us the points. We can look further into that.
And I believe we just got the 2020 statistics. It was just published 2022, excuse me. Statistics was just published recently, and so that was just something we've just recently looked at. And I believe we had a conversation with our PD liaison about it very briefly at our last meeting about us reporting those statistics to the FBI. So it's not something, the conversations have just started, and it's something we would definitely have to continue.
Thank you.
Did I hear you correctly when you when Casper was given the ranking of a 3, that was in 2015? Is
Yes.
that so? I'm assuming we're more elevated at this point, or
Yeah. So if you it's kind of hard to see here, but we're at a 20 as of 2022.
okay? Because all I saw was the 3 on that one. So
Oh yeah.
so we're moving in the right direction then.
Absolutely, and as is Cheyenne, and actually every city on this in this example here, this index, I wish I would have gotten the 2022 snapshot of all these, but they've all progressed.
Good.
They've all progressed, so we're all going in the right direction. Whether or not we want to pick up the pace like Laramie is, that's an opportunity for us. But I'm happy with the progress.
Did you have something else, Kyle? Sorry.
Thank you. I imagine these materials you can find them on the Human Rights Campaign website?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The whole index, and you can find previous years too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Amber, please.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that the 2022 scores were calculated before we passed our ordinance. So I think we won't see that until the 2023 score, and so I think that's already some additional points. And not that the goal for this necessarily is to get the high score or whatever, but I do think it did generate quite a lot of negative publicity for us in the past, and so avoiding that is always a good thing. And second, I think it just gives us some framework for what types of actions cities can and do take, and to help us kind of. I was excited Joe brought this in because it was I had forgotten a bit. I hadn't seen it since probably 2015 or 2016 somewhere in there, and so it is. I think it will give some good direction for things the council could consider that are indicators according to the largest human rights group focused on these initiatives in the country. So I'm looking forward to continue to parse through some of this, and not go for the score's sake necessarily, but for trying to prioritize the things that might have the biggest impact, that might matter most to people. I think your idea of kind of evaluating some of this stuff at Pride to ask, if it's not an issue that's impacting people, we don't necessarily have to chase the points, but if it is, it might be something for the council to consider.
Well, we appreciate you coming. I know this council is very proactive in wanting to make Casper a safe place for everyone. This council in particular has been very, very good at taking up that fight, and so we appreciate all the hard work that you folks have done too. Ray.
Yeah, so at the beginning, when we first created the task force to create this advisory council several years ago, was just a really cool opportunity to see that grow. And I think beyond even when we look at LGBTQ issues, but beyond how we can look at, humanity. And I think as Casper, we can really be that focal point. So I appreciate the work that you guys all do. I appreciate the work that I've seen you guys put into that and the conversations to bring it back to us so we can have thought-provoking ideas and questions and things like that. And I appreciate Amber being part of that as well with me on there too. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
I'm just a curiosity about the results of the survey that was administered during Pride. Mainly my interest in kind of the results and then kind of what you've done with it. But if you want to, if they're available on your Facebook page or someplace like that, I can just look there. But just curious about those.
I am going to defer. I was not around when they did that initial one last year. So, but what I could do is get more information if somebody here doesn't have it. I can get that to you.
Christy's got it.
Yeah.
Well, I can just say for the last 2 years, there was another member and I that ran the Pride booth, and we just asked, the very first one was just simply, how can we help? Pretty much, because we were new, we had not done anything. We just wanted to know how the community felt and what kind of things we could do to help them. And so we, from that, it was really things like feeling safe in the community. There were a lot of young people that talked about schools and feeling safe in schools. That's why we've reached out to the school district and Casper College. So those were the main ones we wanted to do, and then that's why we really got on the non-discrimination ordinance. Last year, we didn't really have much of a focal point to head for, I don't think, and I feel a little bad about that, but so we really just focused on getting businesses that were LGBT friendly, and so we had a list started of businesses that would be a place that would be affirming to the queer community, and then we partnered with Casper Pride because they kind of had that list going as well. And so that's where last year was. This year it's going to be more directed to some of these, because this index has, is it 5 or 6? Five areas that we can really talk to people about when they come to find out what we can do differently in those specific areas.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you being here too. So I would just ask that in the future I would be just in the interest of transparency, just to share those broadly. I think maybe there's a reason not to. I don't know, but I would just be very curious about the results of the survey and then what you're going to do with them. So,
and I don't think that we were very business oriented when we did it. We had a big chart and we put Post-it notes up and kind of put it together that way. We could have very easily, put a picture of those on our website or somewhere. So we'll keep that in mind, and next time we'll be a little more directed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think to further that point, so the initial surveys gave us an idea of there is an issue, right? There people feel that there's an issue and that something needs to be done. This is going to enable us to really have, as Councillor Pollack has said, a concrete platform, right, a jumping off point to really get some good data and put it into action.
Where are we at on the SAFE program?
So a little bit of what Casper Pride is doing, Casper Pride is a little bit spearheading part of that, of trying to really identify the businesses, and they've done a lot in the healthcare realm of what healthcare providers, and done the training for healthcare providers specifically in town to identify them as a safe place for queer individuals, and now they are kind of taking that step further of identifying the business entities and other individuals in the city that are also safe for queer individuals. So with that information, as they continue to work on that, and also as we continue to compile this data, we're going to work on growing that Casper Cares piece and being able to figure out how to do that business acknowledgement on, the front facing side of businesses, as well as that education.
Well, for our new counselors, just so you know, that program is, like she said, is revolved around having some type of a sticker or a placard on businesses that that provide a safe place if someone's being mistreated, accosted, whatever, where they can go, and so the more businesses that sign up for that and create safe havens for our people, the better, of course. So I'd like to see that get, I guess maybe this year that could be a goal to try to get that implemented, certainly. But okay, well, are there any more questions? We better move on. We are up against our time. Thank you, folks, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Yep. Mr. City Manager, let's move on to the river grant.
Absolutely.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and councilors. The opportunity that's before us with respect to this particular item is more along the lines of making sure you're comfortable with our positioning ourselves to take advantage of a grant that we recently learned about at the federal level that we believe the River Project is very well positioned to be considered for this funding opportunity. And so the problem is, as quite often happens, when we find out about the program and the program drops and is available and ready for application, the turnaround is usually pretty quick. And so we did not have the advantage of understanding this program and recognizing it was coming until we got notice of it. So we want to give you the opportunity to ask some questions about this. It's a $3 million program. It does have a match component that we believe the River Fund is adequate to cover. So if I can turn a little time over to Jolene to sort of sharpen the detail in that discussion, I would certainly appreciate
Yes,
that.
please. I knew this was going to be near and dear to Ms. Martinez. So.
Mayor, councilors, so we received notice of this grant. It's called Water Smart, and it's through the Bureau of Reclamation. It's a highly scientific technical grant. Requires collaboration between the regional water system, game and fish, et cetera, which we believe we have. The project total can be $6 million. We can ask for $3 million. Our match needs to be at least 25%, and it can be in kind and cash. I've run the numbers. We're asking for it for the Isaac Walton Reach. So ideally, we would start where we left off, the last river restoration, right by the water treatment plant, go all the way around the curve by our Isaac Walton property, and end right there, about 5,150 linear feet of river restoration. The estimate on it that Andrew and I have been working on is right at about 4.5 million right now. And so again, with a $3 million ask, our share would be right at about 1.5, again, in kind. We were talking about 100% Russian olive removal in the water well fields. That can possibly be done by city staff. We're talking amongst ourselves whether that has to be paid for or not. But we're very excited about it because in the notice of funding opportunity, it lays out river restoration that they want to see. And again, it has to be a nexus with water, drinking water. And we're better than our Isaac Walton Reach. And we think on some of the conversations that I've had with people that I know at the Bureau of Rec in a different state, we think that we are primed to be able to get this if we write it well. And so we're fervently trying to write, but waiting obviously for council approval. It's on your agenda tonight to approve whether we go forward or not on this.
So that would take you darn near to the bridge in Mills, wouldn't it?
No, sir. Andrew, do you want to speak to that? Because you helped me.
Mary, in my mind, darn close.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It gets you, you know where Casper Concrete is? It gets you right around in that vicinity.
So it's that last curve right before the. Nice.
Sorry,
perfect. To
Mayor.
me, it's dark.
That's quite all right. Me too, me too. So they're going to be looking for approval to apply for the grant. So if we have any questions, we already have the $1.5 million set aside. So it would be a fully funded situation for us to get that part of the river done. So I'm assuming we're all good with that. Everybody's okay? Okay, very good. Thank you, Julie.
Can I,
Yeah, of course.
I was just curious, how much is in our river fund?
Mayor, councilors, we just looked at that yesterday, and we have 2.1 million, is that correct? 2.1 million
So there'd be approximately
in cash
600
reserves.
left over?
Mr. Mayor, if I could,
Yes, please.
and I would add, this is exactly the purpose of that fund, is to try to leverage larger dollars, and of course do smaller things here and there. But that's exactly why we've tried to sort of capture these dollars over the years, is to try to leverage these kinds of opportunities.
Go ahead, Cal, please.
Thank you. Follow up, the fund, is this injected with the 1 cent allocations, or I guess, how do funds accrue in this account?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, yes, that's part of it. Part of it is also other grants that we've gotten over the years. And I would say probably residual as well.
There's
from
also some
projects.
private donations in there I'm
Absolutely.
well aware of.
Absolutely. Yep. All those efforts have contributed to the health of that fund.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you, Mayor. Good luck.
Yes, that's near and dear to her. She's going to be giggling all the way to the house tonight, so. Okay, let's move on. We have a little bit of time left for agenda review, Mr. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, I'm not sure that I have anything necessarily cogent to add to this particular item.
Just so you know, future agendas, Ray will be gone next Tuesday. So if anybody else is going to be gone, please let us know to make sure we have a forum. The following week, I will be gone. Ray will run that meeting. And then the 28th, we do not have a meeting. And that's all I know future agenda-wise where we're at. One other thing, we're going to be getting the reports from Mr. Masterson. I just received it on our city manager and our judge. And so I'm going to want to get those out to you. I don't know that I could send them, though, as part of a quorum. No, I didn't think so. So what we should probably do is, if we could, ask for an executive, or can we discuss that tonight during personnel, since we've already?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll do that tonight. We'll discuss those two, because in executive session, we have litigation, land, and personnel tonight. So we'll discuss those tonight.
I will be gone on May 2nd.
May 2nd. Yeah, it's certainly understandable. We all have lives outside of here. It's just, I just need to make sure that we have quorums when we need them, and so I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's adjourn, and 5 minutes we'll take up in the big room. And please make sure you're all signed in, ready to roll.
Just sign in.
Ray signed me in because I didn't know how.
I use Teams all the time at work.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to remind you, everyone, to silence their cell phones. Council meetings are televised and can be viewed on cable channel 192. I now call the March 7th, 2023 regular council meeting to order. All councilors are present. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, I guess we don't have to. We're all here. Please join Mr. Gamroth in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kyle. Let's see if I can get this off here. Sorry. The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the February 7th regular city council meeting as published in the Casper Star Tribune on February 24th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Pollock, seconded by Vice Mayor. Any amendments? Okay, please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
All councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the February 7th, 2023 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Engebretson, seconded by Councilor Pollock. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the February 21st, 2023 regular city council meeting as published in the Casper Star on March 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Cathy, seconded by Councilor Engebretson. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Jenna, please cast your vote. Thank you. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the minutes of the February 21st, 2023 executive session.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilor Pollock, seconded by Councilor Cathy. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Randy, please cast your vote. Thank you. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the March 7th, 2023 bills and claims as audited by City Manager Napier.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Engebretson, seconded by Vice Mayor Pacheco. Any abstentions? Please record the vote. Please cast your vote. Now, please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the March 7th, 2023 conflict claims as audited by City Manager Napier.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Pollock, seconded by Councilor Bond. Any abstentions or nay votes?
I'm going to abstain.
Pardon?
We'll be abstaining.
Okay.
Ditto.
Okay. Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With Councilor Engebretson and Councilor Cathy abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Now's the time we invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak with the council to come forward. As stated on the first page of the agenda, we ask the following. Please state your name, direct all questions and comments to the mayor and only the mayor. No personal attacks on staff or council will be tolerated. Council will not respond to personnel matters. These will be referred to our city manager. Questions posed by speakers may or may not be responded by councilors. Presentations will be limited to 5 minutes, and the duplication of speakers will not be allowed, nor will time extensions be permitted. Please note that public hearings and ordinances each have their own comment period. Please hold your comments on those items until we reach them. So now would be the time to approach if anyone would like to speak.
Evening.
Hi, Tim.
Albert. Just coming forward today just to say I'm disappointed in the council for the discrimination against myself and others. And why, you might ask? is the inability to perform my Second Amendment right within this meetings. And as a veteran, as a citizen, a law-abiding citizen, pays his taxes, I don't see why I need to be discriminated about practicing my Second Amendment rights wherever I go. And I go through scrutiny, just as others do, to not just obtain the weapon, but also to have a concealed carry. Even though Wyoming doesn't really require that, I go to the extent of doing so. So I just wanted to come and record on the minutes and how I'm disappointed, and others are. I just happen to be the one voicing my opinion. And I won't be staying or attending any other meetings because I do not feel safe here. Yes, I understand there's 2 police officers. They're waiting at the gate, but that is the only way of defense. And if anything gets through them, I have no way of defending myself, nor the citizens of the city within the meeting. Any questions?
Mr. Gamroth. Thank you. Mr. Calvert?
Calvert.
Calvert?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the lengths you go to keep yourself educated, trained up, going the extra mile. I would say not everyone does that. Worth noting, you mentioned not feeling safe in here, and I totally appreciate and respect that. We've heard from other constituents that don't feel safe because of people bringing firearms into council chambers like this, and so it's one of those things that's really, in my perspective, there's not an easy right or wrong answer. We have to do our best to gauge the sentiment of the community and kind of strike as fine a balance as we can. I do appreciate your comments. I totally respect where you're coming from. I personally had my leg over the other side of the fence just because I had heard from other people that they were concerned. You might, I don't know how publicly that was known, but we've had incidents in the council chambers of people bringing in, firearm-related materials and stuff like that. And so I don't want anybody to ever feel scared to attend our meetings, and that was part of my motivation for supporting it. But I do understand that not everyone's going to agree with that, and there's going to be different perspectives.
So you take away my right in the Constitution because of others' fears? Yes, that's the answer.
If that's the answer you'd like to take.
That's the answer you're given.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cathy.
Basically, when you got your concealed carry permit, did you read the back of it? Because it states that you cannot take a firearm into a government building. That is at the state level. And if you watch the legislature this last session, they voted no on banning gun-free zones. So really, to a point, it isn't up to us sitting here. It's the state legislature and their concealed carry that says you can't bring it in. Now, again, that starts to become then discrimination between the open carry and the concealed carry. Because if I have a permit, that says I can't do it. But technically, if you don't, and the open carry law, theoretically you can. Which now, who does that discriminate against? So I think it is something that should probably go to the state legislature and get it squared away there on a state level.
Did the council vote against having it in council meetings?
Several councils ago, yes.
Okay, and the council can reverse that?
Council could reverse that, but still by state statute and concealed carry, you cannot bring one into a government building, is what I'm saying. So now that gets into the discrepancy between what the state has passed for open carry and what they have as well on their concealed carry, because those two are in conflict with each other.
Okay.
Tim,
Concealed carry.
I would like to add, because I've actually talked to the chief before, because I'm a gun guy and I want to have my gun up here. I'm a moving target all the time. You see social media, and would I feel more protected if I was packing my own gun? You better believe it. But like the chief said, 90% of the people that are packing a gun wouldn't know what to do with it in a situation where they're under stress or under siege. And then now we've put even more people in danger. So I can tell you this council did not vote to do that. It was already done. and it's really hard to go against state law. In fact, I don't know that we can, but I'm with you. I feel the same exact way you do. It's very frustrating, and I don't like it any more than you do.
It's been nice seeing you, but I won't be attending again.
I understand.
I won't be watching the videos because that's a cop-out.
I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would wish to speak to council? Welcome.
I'm Sarah Lockery. I'm co-chair of City Youth Council. I just wanted to give a little update on what we've been doing. I also wanted to thank City Manager for sitting in on our last meeting on Sunday and kind of explaining his role to all of us. We got a lot of a better perspective of what's happening through City Council and how we can be helpful to you guys. So I just want to give a little update on our climate survey that we've been working on to put into schools. We did not get approved to do it in any class time or any educational learning time between teachers and students of taking that away, but we are allowed to have posters, have teachers talk about it in schools. So a lot of us on council have started to pass out postcards or hang out posters around schools for high school students to start taking the climate survey to get a better perspective on the youth demographic in Casper. So that's kind of where we're at with the survey. We have, I think, around 19 people who have had access or have access to the survey so far, and we're hoping to increase those numbers as time goes on through the rest of the year and then report back with our data that we find. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Bond?
Sir, what, are you talking about the youth risk survey, or is this a survey you designed?
This is our City Youth Council's climate survey to kind of get a better perspective on youth's view on Casper's government. Not only government, but a better aspect of their day-to-day lives. A lot of climate surveys that high schoolers have access to right now are all educational based of, oh, how are teachers feeling, like making you feel safe in schools? How are your classes going? There's none that are, what is your parent or guardian situation look like? What is your access to food like? What is your transportation like? Things like that. So we're taking a more personal based, I don't really know approach, thank you, to it, and seeing the basic day-to-day lives of just how that affects then their view on government and their knowledge on government. Yeah. Questions?
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to approach the lectern? Okay, very good. Thank you. Establish dates of public hearing. Please read the consent agenda titles.
Establish March 21st, 2023 as a public hearing date for consideration of 6A1A resolution authorizing a property trade agreement between West Center Hospitality RE LLC, DCAP LLC, D-Center LLC, and the City of Casper. 6A1B, new restaurant liquor license number 17 for Childcore, doing business as La Cocina Mexican Restaurant, located at 321 East E Street. And 6A1C, transfer of ownership for retail liquor license number 37 from 307 Repair Incorporated, doing business as Yellowstone Garage Bar and Grill, located at 355 West Yellowstone, to Charger Holdings LLC, doing business as Charger Holdings LLC, located at 355 West Yellowstone.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, establish the public hearing dates just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Cathy, seconded by Councilor Ingebretson. Any abstention or nay votes?
I'd like to abstain from items 6A1B and 6A1C, please.
Anyone else? Mr. Cathy?
Excuse me. I had a question about 6A1B. I thought that their current location is on E Street, but I thought this license was supposed to be for their new location out on East 15th Street.
Mr. Mayor, as a point of order, I suppose it would be the chair's prerogative to sort of break consent here and have discussion, but that's not typical. And so I'm not sure what council would prefer to do.
Well, at this point, I would, even though it's not typical, I would rather that we be clear, or Mr. Cathy is at least clear on what he's voting on. So if you don't mind, I would like to enter a discussion phase just for clarity's sakes, if we could, please. Is that something you can entertain?
Yeah, you betcha.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind, maybe I'll just defer to the city clerk to engage that question.
Yes, please. She's like, wait, what?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I was trying to work on the Teams thing.
Where is this liquor license for? Because I thought this was for their new location out on 15th Street, and what she just read listed the address as E Street.
And that's correct, it is E Street. So basically, they're still at their location that's currently right next to the interstate. They would like to renew it, well, they wanted to renew it, but they had a month-to-month lease. And on that month-to-month lease, we can't do that according to state liquor laws. You have to have a lease that covers the full time. And so they decided not to renew. Now they have renegotiated a lease with their tenant, with their landlord, and it is for the full year. So now they're coming in for a new liquor license at that old location. The transfer will happen later to their new location. But they just want to continue until they move.
I misread what was in the
Sorry, yes.
in here, so that's why I was asking, because I didn't want this to be a public notice that then we had to switch and renotice. So
Nope, yep.
that was why I brought it up.
Laura,
Thank you very much.
thank you for the clarity. So if there are no more discussion, any abstention or nay votes, I believe Amber and noted. Okay, please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
Councillor Pollock's abstentions noted and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Please read the ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance amending Casper Municipal Code, Chapter 1.04, General Provisions.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on second reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor Bond. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. There being no one to speak for or against, discussion? There being no discussion, any amendments? There being no amendments, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Flag lot, third reading ordinance. Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending Chapter 17.08 of the Casper Municipal Code pertaining to the definition of flag lots.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on third reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Pacheco, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on the flag lots? Okay, any discussion? Amendments? Mr. Cathy?
This isn't an amendment, but what did we find out? Because we asked last time to check with city planning and P&Z to see how their feeling was. Did we get any feedback from them?
That would be back to the discussion part of this, sir.
I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
I was trying to find hands.
It's okay. It's okay. Mr. City Manager?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, I may have misunderstood what staff was being asked to do. And so if that's the case, I do apologize for that.
I'd be happy to speak to it.
Please, sir.
We, as a council, we have the purview to hear things on this. And the reason it didn't go to P&Z is because we weren't looking for a variance for just one. We were looking to change the ordinance for all of the all of the flag lots in the city area and any future. That's why it came straight to council in the form of an ordinance.
I was under the impression after the last hearing that it was brought up about the 15 feet, that how did city planning feel about that? And I thought that we were going to get with city planning to see how they weighed in on it versus P&Z, because yes, we did not have to go to P&Z for any of that.
Well, I was not under that impression because Craig is the one that brought it to us. So I'm assuming that planning was already behind it, the fact that he brought it to us, and that's the department he works in. Mr. City Manager?
Mr. Mayor and Councilor, again, my apologies if we misunderstood. Certainly, Mr. Collins was present the night that the original amendment was brought forward, and he did weigh in on behalf of the department, albeit not necessarily on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so my understanding was of the request of staff was to ascertain whether or not Planning and Zoning had been consulted, and the answer to that is no. Right, that's correct. And so staff has weighed in, but we have not consulted with Planning and Zoning, just to be abundantly clear.
But I do think your main question revolved around the planning department, and Craig had spoke to it. So I think we are good there.
Okay.
All right, very good. Any amendments? Okay, please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Please read setback requirements in park historic zoning. Read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
An ordinance amending section 17.56.030 of the Casper Municipal Code to reduce the minimum front yard setback requirement in the Park Historic Zoning District.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on third reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Engebretson, seconded by Councilor Jensen. Thank you. Council will now listen to public comment. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes, and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the council on the park historic zoning variance? Okay. Any discussion? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Council will now consider consent resolutions. Please read the consent resolutions by title only.
9A1, authorizing a procurement agreement with Long Building Technologies Incorporated for air handler units for the City Hall Project Safe Remodel Project. 9A2, declaring the intent of the City of Casper, Wyoming to create Local Assessment District Number 159, Westridge Improvements in said city, to authorize the construction of local improvements therein, and to assess the cost or portion thereof of the property benefited thereby. 9A3, authorizing submission of an application to the WaterSmart Grant Program. And 9A4, authorizing a contract for professional services with Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company, Incorporated, for the 2023 to 2027 Casper Solid Waste Annual Title V Reporting Project.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda items just read.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilor Gamroth, seconded by Councilor Engebretson. Thank you. City Manager, would you like to comment on any of these items? Thank you. Any abstentions or nay votes? Okay, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Please read the consent minute action titles.
10A1, approving the appointment of Susan Redding to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. 10A2, purchasing of one new 1-ton regular cab truck with dump body for use by the wastewater treatment plant of the Public Services Department. And 10A3, authorizing the appointment of Nick Eskew to the Casper Planning and Zoning Commission to fill an unexpired term ending on December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda items just read.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilor Gamroth, seconded by Councilor Pollock. Any abstention or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
All councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Eskew, Nick, if you would mind coming up and introducing yourself so they know who we just appointed to our new Planning and Zoning Commission. Welcome.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, and I'm just looking forward to helping out a little bit. I'm new to this and been a business owner in town for almost 20 years and just want to help with that aspect of things and volunteer my time somewhere, and thought this would be a good place to start. So looking forward to it.
Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time we ask councilors to bring forward relevant concerns or items of interest. Councilor Bond.
The only thing I wanted to mention was just that I would encourage residents of the Westridge Improvement District to pay attention and to be watching their mail for notices, be watching the newspaper. There should be plenty of opportunities. I'm feeling fairly confident that the city is doing their due diligence to our due diligence to notify residents of the plan and to give opportunity for input. So that's all I had.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Councilor Cathy?
Attended a special, not a Hall of Justice, Detention Center Joint Powers Board meeting this morning, and I want to commend Pope Construction. They are well past the warranty period on some work they had done in the kitchen area of the jail, but they are going to go ahead and at no charge to the city go ahead and take care of what should have been taken care of back under warranty. And the only charges that we will wind up with would be if they do find any water damage that has occurred behind a portion of what they have to repair. So I want to give them a heads up or an attaboy as well for their good faith effort in taking care of that.
Thank you.
And that was the only item for discussion this morning.
Very good. Anything else? All right, thank you, sir. Councilor Haskins?
I actually don't have anything because the Public Health Department came last week and said everything I could have had to say. So you stole my thunder.
Very good. Thank you. Councilor Pollock?
Thank you. I would like to make a request of the council to get on a work session agenda item. There's been a request made of the city from the Fly Casper Alliance to help out towards a MRG, a minimum revenue guarantee for SkyWest Airlines. So the county is entertaining that question right now. Advanced Casper, the Alliance, and they're looking for participation from the city as well. So I'd like to invite those folks to come explain sort of the nature of the request so that we might have a chance to ask questions.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, well, thank you. Councilor Engebretson?
I think we need.
Oh, I'm sorry. Carter, is that something we can, that we could put on a future work session? Okay, thank you, sir. I apologize for that, sorry. So yes, everybody's good with that? Okay, thank you. Councilor Engebretson?
Yesterday, I attended a 4-hour retreat with Visit Casper for their strat planning. So we've got a really good start on that and some inroads on going forward for the next couple of years. We have a really good group of people. And then this Thursday, then I go to Parks and Rec Board meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Councilor Jensen?
Hi.
Hey.
I do have just an announcement that I was looking up here, trying to find the details. The downtown DCBA and the downtown shops and everyone down there is holding a Shamrock Shuffle this week from the 11th to the 17th, and they're also doing a pub crawl. So the Shamrock Shuffle, you can go down and support your local businesses that are downtown and then enter into a drawing. And then they also have a pub crawl associated with that that's going to be on St. Patrick's Day that is supporting the downtown nightlife of downtown Casper. So if anybody wants to do that, it would be appreciated to go shop local and pay attention to your local businesses.
Thank you. Councilor Gamroth?
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping for clarification from the city manager. Our mayoral, vice mayoral election process, I'm having a hard time recalling, is that on a a future agenda item for us to like solidify, or did we already make those steps?
Please.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, I appreciate the question. The idea would be that we would bring forward a resolution that captures the feedback that we gathered from the council the other night in work session. And if indeed that resolution is not appropriately capturing all the elements of feedback, then certainly it would be the opportunity for the council to amend that resolution and adjust it accordingly in order to get it just right.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. I have some comments that I'll reserve for that time, where it's probably more appropriate. Had a Casper Youth Council meeting this last Sunday. Thank you, Sarah, for giving an update. I don't have anything to add, but was glad to see you here, and thankful for the city manager to join us and explain to that group what he does. There's a couple community-oriented things. Wyoming Food for Thought is having a food drive till the 17th. Griner Ford and Whites Mountain Motor are two of the many drop-off locations. They're looking for non-perishable items like cereal, fruit cups, granola bars, peanut butter, cracker snacks, and other stuff. So if you'd like to donate, please consider doing that. Also, United Way is having their Eat, Drink, and Be Caring. That is the 9th, so I imagine that would be Thursday. There's 35 establishments, and they're all donating 10% of profits to their nonprofits that night. So if you'd like to support our nonprofit community, I would encourage you to go eat out on the 9th and do so. And then lastly, Councilor Bond, I believe you were referencing the Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance System survey that they used to do in the high schools. The state legislature is actually the one that has control over that, and they stopped doing it in 2016. For anyone that doesn't know, it asked our high school and I believe even junior high students about their behaviors related to injury and violence, including sexual behaviors, alcohol and drug use, tobacco use, unhealthy dietary behaviors. It's really frustrating to me that we stopped doing that as a state, and so I don't know if it's anything that we have any control over, but I would certainly advocate to the state that they continue that surveillance system. I don't know why they discontinued it, but we're missing out on very important data being captured from our youth that can help us make data-driven decisions, especially looking back over trends. It's already a shame that we've lost 6 years of data, so I would love to see our state legislature take that up at some point. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Just a couple things. I got a lovely phone call from a constituent, a couple days ago, wanted to express their gratitude to Hogadon and the staff at Hogadon. They were up there with a group from Special Olympics, and they just said the staff was amazing. Everything that they're doing and the work that they've done over there has been really, really well done. Especially a young man named Ryan. I think he works in the rental shop. Took care of him. Was very patient with the kids that and the people from the Special Olympics, especially anybody that. What's that?
I think it was Reese too.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. And so. Just kids that have some sensory issues and some things like that to be touched. He was very patient with them. So I think we get hit a lot. I think we get a lot of criticisms. We get a lot of things that happen up here, but we don't also highlight the amazing things that happen in the city and the people that put the time and the effort into that. And so when something comes up that's positive, we need to recognize that, especially the staff that put the time, effort, and the work that they do, especially up at the Hogadon, that they've had record snow up there. So I really appreciate that. And I want to pass that along, not only to the council, to our constituents, and to you, Carter. So you can pass that along to Chris as well. CYC, I'm glad you guys are doing that. I'd be curious, and I should have probably asked you, Sarah, when you're up here. You don't have to say anything. Just your guys' experience working with the school district, trying to get inside and trying to do those things. If it was a difficult opportunity, maybe you can touch base. Okay, I'm getting some head shakes over there.
It was.
So I'm all for understanding that we need time for learning and doing those things. I think that's important. But I also think I do agree with Councilor Gamroth that these types of surveys can certainly gauge what our youth are going through and what they're doing. And CYC is trying to do that. And I think partnerships with our school district are incredibly, incredibly vital in the work that we're trying to do. So I appreciate that. Keep fighting and doing those things. So we appreciate that. I'll be gone next Tuesday. I'm going on vacation. It's been a while since I've been on vacation, so I will not be here. but I leave in good hands with all of you. So I'll be back, though, I promise.
I'll hold you to it. Thank you. I just have a couple things. One is I had a really nice phone call with Dennis Steensland, who happens to be here tonight, and one of his concerns, and I share it with him a little bit, is he would like to have more input from more of the council. And he knows that it's hard being a freshman and new, but I think it was a good point he brought up. I think new and exciting ideas are always good, and so please don't be shy to put forth and bring forth whatever it is that's on your mind. It's always welcome, and the public's asking for it. So, and then I'm going to ask, since we have some press here tonight, I would sure like to get some press on this this Fly Casper Alliance that they're going to be bringing to us. This is a subsidy of sorts for the air service coming in and out of Casper, and what's it called? MRG, but it stands for minimum revenue. Thank you. And so they're wanting us to use some taxpayer money to make sure that they're meeting minimum requirements in order to stay here and operate. And I'm hugely curious of what the public thinks. Hugely curious. Anytime you're using taxpayer money to subsidize a private business, especially one that last year, I believe I read the report, they made $100 million. So it's hard for me to stomach, but I'd really like to know where our people are with it, where our public is with it. Any guidance we could get would be wonderful. And Elise, thanks for coming. You're always here supporting the kids. I sure appreciate you for that very much. And that's all I have. So thank you, folks. Notice of an executive session to take place at this date during this meeting was given. We have matters to discuss regarding litigation, personnel, and land acquisition. Therefore, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session, and at the conclusion of that executive session to reconvene this regular meeting solely for the purposes of adjournment of this regular meeting.
So moved. So moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilor Pollock. There being a majority of members present and a motion to adjourn into an executive session having been moved and seconded, that motion requiring a 2/3 majority vote of the council present, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
A greater than 2/3 majority of the council present voted in favor of the motion. We are hereby adjourned into an executive session. Council, please, let's proceed to the council meeting room.